zone.
Greetings, fellow fright fiends. It's your buddy BoogeyMan Ben here for another episode of BoogeyMan Ben's Horror Zone. And this is going to be my final video of 2016, and what a year it has been. It's been a hell of a year, to say the least. And I remember back to my first video of this year, I said that it was going to be, a good year, lots of, promise of a good year, and then there's been a lot of bumps in the road. I'm very happy for where I am now, but man, was it a tough road getting here. Just job-wise, career-wise, has been very tough. But I've managed to stay positive through all of it, and I'm very happy where I am now. I think it's a year that made me stronger, a stronger person. So that's all I can look at it. You have to look at it in a positive way. It has been a sad year. We've lost a lot of great people this year, especially recently with Carrie Fisher, Debbie Reynolds, and George Michael passing away. But we also lost Gene Wilder, Angus Scrimm. We lost Alan Rickman, David Bowie, Prince, a lot of great people. And it's very sad that all of these fantastic people are now no longer with us. But, I have hope for 2017. I hope it's going to be a good year for not only myself, my family, but also all of you that have continued to support BoogeyMan Ben's Horror Zone. But I want to keep this video light and fun for the last video of the year, and it is going to be focusing on my top 10 horror films of 2016, and what a year it has been for horror. There has just been some fantastic stuff in the horror genre this year. Not only movies, but television shows like Stranger Things and Bates Motel, and The Exorcist show, which I have not seen yet, but I've heard nothing but great things about. So I'm really excited to check that out. Also, Walking Dead has been fantastic. I don't care what some of the naysayers have said, but with the introduction of Negan this year, it's just been amazing. So yeah, nothing but great stuff for the horror genre, and it's made 2016 a better year than it could have been if we had a lot of shitty horror films. So I narrowed it down to 10 films, and it was really tough this year. It was probably one of the hardest lists I've ever had to do. I actually had to think about it for several days, and I was trying to catch up on a lot of films that I wasn't able to see earlier on. Ones that I missed in the theater, or ones that are available now on demand or through things like Shudder and things like that. And we finally got Amazon Prime, so I'm able to check out some of these other films that have limited releases or are only available on digital on demand, things like that. But I do have one honorable mention that didn't make my top 10, and that is Darren Lynn Bousman's Abattoir. I finally watched that film recently, and I really loved it. It just didn't crack my top 10, but I really enjoyed the film. It's a very different film, but Darren Lynn Bousman is very experimental with a lot of his films. He does a lot of different things. He tries not to be so mainstream. So a lot of his films are very, you can't go in with the same expectations you would his earlier films, like the Saw films, which is what he kind of started his career on, was Saws 2, 3, and 4. But I really loved all of his films. I haven't seen Repo, the generic rock opera, or Devil's Carnival, but I have seen Mother's Day Barons and now Abattoir, and I love all of them. So, again, and I haven't seen 11, 11, 11, but I do own it. But love those other three that I mentioned, and I think Abattoir is very interesting, very different take on the haunted house genre, so people should check it out if they have Amazon Prime, or it's on iTunes, I believe. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. So number 10 on my list is a movie that I just watched recently, and it's one that I heard about. I watched the trailer for it a few months back, and it's called The Monster. And it's one directed by Brian Bertino, who actually directed The Strangers, which is I think one of the scariest movies ever made. I thought this film was fantastic. It deals with a mother and daughter, and I don't want to give a lot away, because one thing I loved about the trailer is that it didn't give a lot away, and I felt like this movie was so much more than what the trailer led it to be, and I think that was refreshing that it didn't spoil a lot in the trailer. But it deals with a mother and daughter that are stranded on a road during a stormy night, and they have a little traffic accident. They're stranded on this desolate road, and there's something in the woods, something that is almost like stalking them, and it is a creature of some kind that is living in these woods, and just the story is very creepy. There's almost elements of it that remind me of the Stephen King novel, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which they have yet to make a movie on, but there was elements of it that reminded me of that. But it was a very scary movie, and I thought that the creature design, for it being a low budget film, the creature design was very well done, and it was shot exceptionally well because a lot of times you don't see the creature; it's a lot of shadows and things like that. So they did a terrific job making the film, and it's one I can't wait to pick up. I believe it's coming out on Blu-ray and DVD at the end of January of 2017, but it is on Amazon Prime right now. It costs about $6.99 to rent, but I definitely think it's worth it. Number 9 on my list is The Witch. I did a review of this when I saw it in the movie theater, and I absolutely love this film. It's a very different film. I know. I still remember going to see this movie in the theaters, and there was a lot of snickers and laughs during because the dialogue is very heavy, very Puritan dialogue. Really, really well done. I feel like the director Robert Eggers really knew how to capture that time or that place in history, and these people, the actors in this are fantastic. I mean, you really feel like you're watching a movie. If they had cameras back then, if they were able to shoot what a family would be like during these times, it's just amazing. But this film, I've only watched this film a handful of times, but it's not a film that you want to sit down and relax to, but it is so well done and so disturbing that it really impacted me the first time I saw it on the big screen, and it still impacted me the second time I watched it. Excellent film. Can't say enough great things about it. Robert Eggers, I can't wait to see what he does next. And, yeah, just a terrific film all around. So, yeah, number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list is 10 Cloverfield Lane, and this is one I didn't do a review on this year. And unfortunately I missed this one in the movie theaters because it was right around the time I had started the job in Napa, and I just didn't get a chance to get to the theater and see it. But this movie is fantastic, and I love the original Cloverfield. Next to Blair Witch, the original Cloverfield is my favorite found footage style horror film. And this one was great because John Goodman, can't say enough great things about him. I love him. I've always loved him, been a fan of him going back to like Revenge of the Nerds and Roseanne, of course. But he is so eerie in this film and just does a great job of that balance of, do you sympathize with him or do you fear him? I mean, you kind of understand where he's coming from, but there's just something off about him, and he does such a great job in this. And also, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I'm so glad that she's getting so much more notoriety now because I've always been a fan of hers. Going back to Final Destination 3, loved her in the Thing prequel. She's just a fantastic actress. And I think Dan Trachtenberg just did a fantastic little thriller here because even if it wasn't tied somehow to the Cloverfield universe, it still would be fantastic on its own. And I don't want to give a lot of spoilers away for people who haven't seen it, but you definitely owe it to yourself to check this one out. Number 7 on my list is a film that is not available on Blu-ray or DVD, but I watched it back in April of this year, and it was called Hush. It was directed by Mike Flanagan, who did the amazing film Oculus, and he also did the prequel sequel to Ouija, how people say it. But I didn't get a chance to see that movie either. But Hush was fantastic, and it dealt with a writer who is deaf and mute, and she is stalked by a serial killer, and she's all by herself in this this wooded area in this cabin where she goes to write. And again, I've only seen the movie once, but I loved the film. I did a review of it, and I thought it was fantastic. Very scary, very well done, very original, and really played upon the kind of home invasion style film. I really thought it was really well done and very creepy, and the main actress in it was fantastic. I hope Mike Flanagan continues to do horror films because I think he's one of the best horror directors right now, and Hush is just another masterpiece in my opinion. Okay, number 6 on my list is The Shallows, and this was one, again, I missed it in the movie theaters and just bought it when it came out on DVD. And I have never been a big fan of Blake Lively. I've seen her in other films. I saw, she was in The Town. She's been in, she was in Green Lantern. I've seen her in other films, and nothing against her, but I just never been a big fan of her acting style. But she blew me away in this film, and I was concerned when the film was first coming out because she is pretty much the main person you're following. She's isolated on this beach and she's being stalked by the shark, and it just really worked well. And I really love the way that this movie looks. It's beautifully shot. I mean, the beach where they shot this film is just fantastic, and the scenes with the shark, and I know they did some CGI with the shark, and a lot of people didn't like the fact that it was a CGI shark, but I thought it looked really well. I mean, of course, there's some times where you can tell it's CG, but, there's some parts of it that really made me jump, and really got to me. And I think it's one of the best shark movies to come out in a long time. In fact, I think it's my favorite shark movie since Deep Blue Sea, and we're going back almost 17 years since that film came out. But yeah, absolutely love The Shallows, and if you're a fan of shark movies, good shark movies, I definitely recommend checking it out. Okay, number 5 on my list is going to be a controversial one, but I just did a review of this film, and it is Rob Zombie's 31. I absolutely love this film, and like I said, I'm not going to, everybody has a right to their opinion, and that's completely fine, and, I understand that some people just don't like his style of filmmaking, and they think this one was a mess and just a lot of over-the-top gore and not a lot of focus. But for me, I think that's what made it stand out for me, is that it was just so insane. It fit with the story and just the characters. And I know I said it was original, an original concept, and that I liked Rob Zombie because of his original work. And I know that there are some elements he's borrowed from other films for this, but to me, it's like it still is more original than some things that are coming out of the horror genre. And I really just I respect Rob Zombie for just having his own vision, and that's just the way he is. I mean, he kind of just goes at it and it puts out what he wants to put out, and you either like it or you don't. And I absolutely love this film. I don't know if it's my favorite Rob Zombie movie, but it's up there. And one of my favorite movies by him is Halloween 2, and I know a lot of people hate that film. So, again, my opinion, that's it. Everybody else is entitled to theirs, and I'm not going to disagree with them. But for me, number 5 on my list was Rob Zombie's 31. Number 4 on my list is Lights Out, and this is another one I missed in the movie theater. It came out around the time when I was still working at Google, and I was just getting home real late, and just one that I missed. But was really upset that I missed this one in the theater. I loved the short that was put out. The short that David Sandberg did, David S. Sandberg, who actually directed this film. When I saw that short terrified me, and I thought it was so well done and so interesting and creative, and this film is no exception. Yes, there's a lot of jump scares in it, but I thought it worked really well, and I love the idea of this thing that just lives in the darkness. There are similar elements to this, as in the movie Darkness Falls, which came out a long time ago. There are elements of that in this film, but I really like this film, and I love the creature in this, or the character, the monster that's hiding in the darkness. And I love that it establishes the rules very early in this film. And I thought everybody in this film was great. Teresa Palmer, I remember her from Warm Bodies. I really liked her in that. And Maria Bello, I've always been a fan of hers, especially from movies like Secret Window. But yeah, she did a terrific job. The fact that James Wan produced this, that should make you well aware that this is going to be a terrifying film. And there were many parts of this film that absolutely scared the crap out of me. So yeah, number 4 on my list is Lights Out. Number 3 on my list is Don't Breathe, and I did a review of this one when I was able to get out to the theater to see this one, and I absolutely love this film. Rewatched it, still love it. Amazing film. Love Fede Alvarez, was a huge fan of his Evil Dead remake, and this film has so many elements going for it. The cast is fantastic, especially Jane Levy and Dylan Minnert and Stephen Lang, who plays the blind man. I've always been a fan of Stephen Lang. I've seen him in other films, and he's terrifying in this film. Very well done film, very scary. Some of the effects in this, especially the scene where they're all completely in the dark, I think is one of the best scenes I've seen in a film this year. So yeah, absolutely love this film. Can't recommend it enough, and it looks great on Blu-ray. And yeah, check it out. Number 3 on my list is Don't Breathe. Number 2 on my list is a film that I just watched a few days ago, and it is The Autopsy of Jane Doe. This film was one that I read about, and I had seen the trailer for it a little while back. Stars Emile Hirsch and Brian Cox, 2 actors I'm a huge fan of, and it was directed by Andre Overdahl, who, I hope I'm saying his name right, but he directed Troll Hunter, which is a film I need to revisit, because the first time I saw it I wasn't crazy about it, but oh my god, this film was terrifying, and it was so well done. And I saw it, it's available on, you can watch it on Amazon Prime, it's on iTunes. Terrifying film, very well done and very unexpected. There's a lot of really great touches in this film. It's not one that has a bunch of jump scares. It's one that takes its time, really develops its story and its characters, and the ending is one that I did not expect at all, and the film really leaves you with a creepy feeling afterwards. And yeah, I definitely recommend The Autopsy of Jane Doe, one of the scariest films I've seen all year. And it should come as no surprise that number 1 on my list is The Conjuring 2. This film scared the ever-living shit out of me, and I just cannot say enough great things about this film. I actually really like it more than the first Conjuring, and I love that film. But I've watched this film a couple times. Watched it in the theater, did a review on it in June, and since then I watched it a couple more times on Blu-ray. Fantastic film. Can't say enough great things about Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. They're fantastic as the Warrens. Just love their character. Love the way that they portray. I mean, of course, they're based on real people, but their portrayal just centers this film so well. And just I love the new cast as well. You know, dealing with the Enfield poltergeist, and the kids in this film are fantastic actors, and it is just a terrifying film. Everything about this film is scary, especially the nun. Oh my god. The first time I saw this film, my hair was standing up on my arms. She freaked me out so much. But yeah, this is a fantastic film. Number one on my list, absolutely by a mile. The Conjuring 2 is the scariest film and best horror film, in my opinion, for 2016. And that is going to be it, folks. That is my last video for 2016, and what a year it has been. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below about what you think are the scariest films or the best films of 2016, the best horror films. Would love to hear everyone's opinion. And as always, thanks so much for watching BoogeyMan Ben's Horror Zone, and I'll see you guys in 2017. Take it easy. Stay safe this New Year's. Stay scared as always. Peace.